What if? What if we are getting with Clint Kubiak the same person that we had in Pete Carmichael? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here and for agreeing to spend a few minutes out of your day with me. Being a cord cutter, I didn't see the game last night. I was reduced to following along on podcasts. Thank you, Zach and Nonfiction of Real Fan Sports. And a special thank you to Randolph Jackson, Dolph 17 of Keeping It Real, Who Dat Sports Podcast. What I saw or what I heard was not encouraging. I don't know if it was worse to hear it and not see it, or to see it and hear it. Whichever way, it was terrible. I remember saying after the Dallas game that sooner or later, teams flying so high, so high, so high as the Saints were at that time, after laying a 40-point beat down on Dallas, hold your horses, hold your tater. That even the highest of flyers have to fall back to earth sometime. And the fall back to earth for the Saints came against Philadelphia. It wasn't a crash landing, but a landing nonetheless. All us in Saints Nation thought for sure that we would do better, that we would redeem ourselves against Atlanta. Well, we know how that went too, don't we? Most of us, those of us who know the truth about this team, tell the truth about this team, we knew that there was little chance that we would beat Kansas City, especially with a full third of our 53-man roster out or injured and playing. One third of our total roster. And the five that were out last night, all starters. Before the season began, there was a great deal of positivity in Saints Nation about the acquiring of Clint Kubiak and what that could mean to our offense. We were confident that with the improvement in the offense that Clint Kubiak was obviously going to bring us, We were set up because our defense has been. In the first two games, our defense was chef's kiss. In these last three games, our defense has been absolute, positively, totally, and booty juice. Once upon a time, our defense's claim to fame was being able to stop the run. These last two, maybe even three seasons, elite runners have routinely put up over 100 yards against us. And Kareem Hunt last night put up over 100 rushing yards against us. Our offense, as opposed to last year, and at times this year, but in the Philly game and the Atlanta game, our offense put up the points toward the end of the game in an effort to win it. But it was our defense that let us down. And watching highlights, our defensive backfield, which I myself had put so much stock in, was dang near ineffective last night. Family, this team isn't what we thought it was. This team isn't even what we hoped it was. 2-3 we are after 5 games. And I suspect that Sunday against Tampa, we're going to lose that game too. Because Tampa is that much a better team than we are. Oh, if all our starters are playing, we have a chance. But beyond the starters on this team, we have, and I hate to say this, we have junior varsity players behind our starters. And that's a pitiful thing to say, a terrible thing to say about your favorite team, the team that you love. But this team ain't passing the eye test. Not my eye test. And I'm sure not the eye test of many others in Saints Nation who have been watching and loving this team for so long. So long. Our defensive line was getting pushed around by Kansas City's offensive line all night long. I'm not going to say anything about our linebackers. They're being banged up, nicked up. Demario Davis was out there, but Demario Davis ain't 100% and it showed. I remember last year watching as runners hit that second level and Demario Davis chasing them down for the tackle. Most of the time, all you saw was white jerseys chasing a red one. And it isn't like the Saints don't know their weaknesses. They already know that they have a problem with mobile quarterbacks. They already know that they have a problem covering tight ends, and they were ineffective. Ineffective with Kelsey last night. Kelsey did whatever he wanted. We couldn't stop him. And if we could stop him, we didn't. Tackling has been a problem for these last 3 games. I see arms going out and reaching to touch somebody, but not arms wrapping up. And whatever player that they made a minimal effort to tackle, tacks on 3, 5, maybe even 10 more yards. Yes, maybe I will have to reevaluate my picks for the season. I had said that 8 and 9 would be the best the Saints would do this season. But looking at this team right now, I remember that some people said 7 and 10, and maybe even a few people said 5 and 12. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt bad. In a game against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2012, the year Sean Payton was suspended, was a wild game. Saints had a chance to win it at the end and didn't. I shed tears that day because that was the best the Saints had looked up till that time in the season when they played Kansas City in 2012 and lost. I had said that Kansas City would beat the Saints by 10 points last night. Instead, they beat them by 13, doubling their point total. If the Saints had 300 yards on offense, I'd be surprised. This team isn't very good, y'all. Currently in third place in the NFC South, with the way Carolina is playing, is it possible that the Saints could fall all the way to the cellar in the NFC South? Even with the new offensive scheme, the Saints look a whole lot like they did in 2023. Like they did in 22. But this time, in 22 and 23, it was the offense that was the biggest problem. This time, I do believe the defense is the problem. When it counts the most, they cannot hold a team back. They didn't hold Philadelphia. They let Goddard beat us. They didn't hold Atlanta. They let Koo beat us, with Derek Carr contributing a pick six. I had said the last two games, the Philly game and the Atlanta game, neither one of those was on Derek Carr. Neither one. And anybody that listens to me knows that I am the most virulent Carr hater in Saints Nation. But Carr screwed up last night. That interception was an ill advised pass. I couldn't see it, so I can't tell you all the particulars of it, or what was going on, or who was where at what time. All I can tell you is that he got picked. Score would have been much worse if Kalen Saunders hadn't picked Mahomes off in the end zone. I do believe, and I could be wrong about this, correct me please, that is maybe the first or third game that Kalen Saunders has appeared in since he donned a Saints uniform. He's been on the injured list most of the time he's been here, just like Kendre Miller. Everybody's figured out the Saints offense, and it didn't take long. The buzz about Kubiak coming here, since he had been directing the San Francisco 49ers offense and having great success with that wide zone that he's incorporated. But Clint Kubiak doesn't have the roster quality in New Orleans that he had in San Francisco. And if you can't see that now, you never will see it. Even Clint Kubiak can't make a consistently winning offense with JV players. But there is an upside. If the Saints do fall to 7-10 or worse, Dennis Allen is going to be out of here. And Derek Carr should go with him. Derek Carr is incapable. Hear me, incapable of leading this team anywhere. And the reason why is that he's incapable of finding something within him to do the things that he needs to do. He can't throw a receiver open. He has to already be open and running down the field before he can hit him, and that's 30% hit or miss. He will not escape the pocket where he could affect running plays, where he could pick up yards. and kind of help themselves out a bit, but he doesn't do that. He's still not going through all his possessions. Excuse me, progressions. He is still staring down receivers. "11 years in the league, and he's no better now than he was 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Carr has plateaued. He will never be any better than he is right now. Never. And it's time for the Saints to recognize this. Oh, yes. They've spent what? $150 million for a quarterback that can't lead you down the hill to get a drink of water. Especially the problems, especially in Dennis Allen's perception, that we had in 21, when Jameis went down and Andy Dalton stepped in, and we did 7-10 that year. Oh, yes, in Dennis Allen's estimation, the problem was at quarterback. So that's when he went out and decided that I knew he was going to get Derek Carr as soon as the Raiders benched him. I knew that. I think all the Saints Nation knew that. And we find ourselves in no better situation than we were in 22 with Andy Dalton. And Dennis Allen is another thing. Now, y'all are gonna scream at me for this, for bringing in an arcane subject into this. Dennis Allen is a Virgo. Mild-mannered. Rarely speaks up. Dennis Allen is a Casper Milquetoast. Look it up and find out who Casper Milquetoast is supposed to be and what Casper Milquetoast is supposed to be like. The Saints have no killer instinct. That's because the person leading them has none. Dennis Allen is too to impose the kind of discipline on that team that Sean Payton did when he was here. The kind of discipline on that team that Mike Tomlin has in Pittsburgh. As long as Dennis Allen is here, we'll never see that again. The head is leading the rest of the body. And if the head ain't worth a shit, the body will fail. If the Saints end up going 5-12 or 7-10, like some have said, Dennis Allen should be gone. But will he? And then the specter of Randy Mueller comes up again in my mind. I'm almost positive that Randy Mueller is there to keep from making the same mistakes with personnel that he did when he was general manager. And looks like Mickey Loomis is about to do the same damn thing he did back in 2002 that got him fired as general manager of the Saints and got Mickey Loomis installed as general manager of the Saints. Dennis Lauscha, I know you see this. Miss B, I know you see this. I know y'all hear the fans screaming. Oh yeah, oh the fans were all yee yee the first 2 games of the season, but like I said, don't y'all go yeeting yet. It ain't time. If they go undefeated on to game 5 and beat Kansas City, yeah, we got plenty to be yeeting about. But now, when it looks like through 6 games, through fully almost 1/3 of this NFL season, the Saints are going to be 2-4. Because I don't see how, with as injured and as hurt and playing hurt as so many of our players are, how in the hell are we going to beat Tampa? How in the hell are we going to beat Tampa? They have a better quarterback. Even though a lot of y'all wanted to trash Baker Mayfield, they got a better offensive line. They got a better defense. They have a better team than the Saints at this point in time. What we need in New Orleans is a clean sweep. I'm going to put myself in the general manager's position. If I were the general manager, what I would do is sweep the Saints clean of everyone. Players, coaches, medical staff especially. This ain't right. This ain't right. I know we done suffered through bad seasons with the Saints. I know we have. I was there. You were there. But those days should be in the past, and we are not gonna take it anymore. We are not going back, Mickey Loomis. We are not going back, Dennis Lauscha. We are not going back, Miss Gail Benson. We want better. We deserve better. We've earned better. Will we get it? I don't think we're going to get it this season. Will we get it next? If the Saints fall on their face, they take Dennis Allen out. And then what are they going to do? they're going to promote Clint Kubiak to head coach. They get rid of Dennis Allen, which I don't think is a good idea either. We see how Clint is performing as offensive coordinator. Clint comes from San Francisco, a team with an offensive-minded coach in Kyle Shanahan. Was Shanahan responsible for the offensive production of the 49ers, or was it Kubiak? Questions, folks. Now we look forward, if you can call it that, to Tampa Bay. Be nice if we didn't lose to them, but I don't see it not happening. Five games of a 17-game season. 12 games are left. Yes, Eric McCoy will be back. Around game 7 or 8, maybe. Kendre Miller is ready to step off injured reserve and get on the active roster. But no matter how many other players come back, the Saints are still a junior varsity team playing in the NFL. I cannot tell you how it hurts me to say that. I cannot tell you how it hurts me to believe that. That's all I have for today, family. Please leave me a like. Or like, share, and subscribe if you will. Thank you for being here. Who dat?